Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Regular listeners of the pod will know that I've thought a lot about death and dying this year. I lost one of the most important people in my life, my stepdad, earlier this year, and the whole experience of losing him and navigating that loss has been something that no amount of cliches can prepare you for. What did surprise me, however, is how much humor there was swirling around in those final days. This isn't in a callous or insensitive way, but there was an absurdity to confronting that death. There are things that just come up in the course of dealing with death and dying that you just think, wow, you cannot make this shit up. And you know what? There was guilt associated with that. That my losing this important presence in my life could in any way have funny moments felt wrong. It felt shameful. And I think that's true of other hard moments in our lives as well. Not just when staring down death, some of the most uncomfortable moments in our lives also have a way of inducing laughter. Even writing this, I feel kind of like I'm talking about something dirty, wrong, taboo, but it's true. If you look back on moments in your life that were hard, can you find any humor in them now? I mean, you may not have been able to in the moment, but maybe as a teenager, devastated over unrequited love, you, I don't know, threw yourself down on your bed with your blue eyeshadow and butterfly clips, saying that you'll never love again at age 14? Isn't that funny? It feels funny now. Didn't then. In this life, laughing isn't a requirement. Finding humor in things isn't mandatory, but could you imagine if we all tried to, just a little bit more? Laugh at ourselves even in the hard moments a little more? Not take everything so seriously? I think I used to be better about that, and becoming a parent and feeling like there are so many battles to climb just to keep myself intact, I feel like the humor sometimes is the first thing to go. And this is really just a long way of saying that I needed this week's guest. I needed her perspective, her wisdom, her ability to laugh freely, even though she's been through some really hard shit, her ability to forgive, her ability to deeply love. They're all intimately related in her story, and I don't think that's an accident. Angela Nissel has lived lives, as you're about to hear. The author, television writer, and early internet culture adopter is known for co-founding powerhouse music website OK Player with her childhood friend Questlove, for her book The Broke Diaries, the completely true and hilarious misadventures of a good girl gone broke, for her work as a writer and executive producer for Scrubs. She was an executive producer on Ginny and Georgia, a co-EP on Mixed-ish and The Last OG, and so many more. She's had some crazy on-air experiences with her mom, including Oprah and 2020, and her latest book, which we're going to talk about in this episode, Good Grief, Pass the Bread, Mom is Dead. I think you can figure out what that one's about. I'm excited for you to hear this episode. If you've experienced grief, I invite you to read her book and give yourself permission to find humor even in the hardest times. It might not be easy, it might not be useful for you, but also it's okay if you do. Nobody's judging you. Or at least I'm not. Enjoy. So welcome to the closet.
Thank you for having me in the closet.
I'm so excited. 2 days in a row.
Wait, our conversation yesterday, I just wanted to state, I was like, you lived in Hong Kong?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot I even mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've lived lives. I spent actually a lot of time in sub-Saharan Africa. And around the time that OK Africa launched, which I know you're an OK Player founder, so I know that's like a spin-off. So I was like, oh, all of these weird threads are coming together. Because OK Africa was I knew some of the people who were involved in the founding of it. It was like very much the cool kids club.
Girl, I wish I did. You talk about erasure of women. My name's not even on the site now.
The fuck?
Yo, it's been 25 years. And someone finally, because I still have a community of people.
Yeah.
I wanted to make the coolest community I could, because I saw the power of the internet before a lot of people did. And then when you're working with friends and money comes into play, woo!
Yeah.
Long story short, I was told that I'm co-founder but not co-owner. We were friends. We didn't have any, paperwork. So I get told that I need to figure out how everyone's going to get paid if I'm really co-owner. I know. And I remember I left the office crying because I didn't want people to not get paid.
Yeah, obviously.
So all of a sudden, the man that I hired is in charge of the site and I'm out because I couldn't, but then they still got paid. Yeah, it's a whole, for 25 years, I have been, you just jump right in, girl.
Let's go.
Yeah, 25 years, I have been smiling and I co-founded that site. And I don't know who owns it. All I know is that people constantly ask, Angela, why aren't you on the site? Angela, why did you lose your house? Why were you almost homeless and you co-founded a site? And whenever I talk about it...
A very successful website.
Yes. Whenever I talk about it, other women come out of the woodwork and say, that happened to me. That happened to me. So I'm happy not to feel alone, but it's...
It's an annoying thing to not feel alone in.
Yes. Yeah. And as women, this is the first time I'm ever really openly talking about it, because as women, we're taught to suck it all up and smile because we might offend the wrong person. I don't care anymore. No. I don't care.
Guys, she's moving to Minnesota. She's going to have a fortress and try and come at her. I mean, there's going to be like 20 feet of snow.
Yes.
It's not going to be possible to reach Angela any longer.
No.
Unless you have the password to get in. And it's going to be like, fuck the patriarchy or something like that.
Exactly.
I'm so excited to get into this. We have so many things to cover because as I told you yesterday, I love people from Philadelphia. There's such a specific kind of hometown pride that comes with the Philadelphia person, I feel. You've had this very expansive career. You've had this that you have chosen to make public, intense up and down roller coaster journey. This complicated relationship with your mom, who's no longer with us, and reconciling all of that in your latest book, which we're going to talk about. There's just so much to talk about, and you're a stepmom. So, and we got to talk about the stepmom thing. Being a stepmom is complicated, and so I want to get into your thoughts on that. So there's so much to start with, but we're going to start with, because I know your mom is such a prominent figure in your life, for better or for worse. We got to start with little Angela and go back to Southwest Philly, and talk to me about, are you an only child?
No, I have a younger brother.
So you're an eldest.
Yes.
And what's the age difference between
you guys?
About
3.5.
Okay, so that's like a proper eldest.
Yes, it is very much. And I learned the hard way. I took my role as eldest very seriously. Like, I was second mom.
Yes.
And when my mom passed, my brother and I had to figure out how to redo that relationship, because he was like, no, mom's dead. Come on now. Ease up a bit.
Yeah, we don't need to do this. He's like, I'm actually a grown man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Which is funny because I'm a youngest, and my brother, there's a middle, but my brother's 6 years older than me, and I'm regularly like, I am 40 years old. I know I might seem like a child to you, but I am a person in the world with children of my own.
Yes.
Because it's really hard to switch.
It's still, to this day, my brother's son is 21 now, and it freaks me out. I'm like, somebody let you have a kid, dude.
That's how I feel about myself. I'm like, somebody let me leave the hospital with you.
And he's such a good dad. And it's almost unbelievable. I almost can't speak to my nephew because I can't believe he exists as such a good human being. I'm like,
that's the highest compliment. Do you hear that, brother? Okay, so it's you and your brother growing up. What's the sort of home situation like?
The home situation is my mom, a woman who volunteered for the Black Panthers, married a white guy who moved into her hood, because back then, if you were a poor white woman and you had nothing, and you asked for help. They were like, here's a hood you can move into. And so they were the only white family, him, his single mom, and my dad, in this all-black neighborhood. And him and my mom got involved, coming from very traumatic backgrounds, both of them. And I think that they were one of those couples that thought love would solve everything.
Turns out, guys, love isn't enough. Can we just say that? I'm sorry to be a dickhead about it. Love is not enough. Love is not enough.
Yeah, and our parents' generation did not know what therapy was. It was something for crazy people.
Yeah.
So I was raised with two people who, to put it bluntly, hadn't done the work because they didn't know how to do the work.
Yeah.
And my mom raised me once she divorced my dad he's still alive. So the nicest thing I can say is, wasn't a good husband, wasn't a good dad, didn't have anybody to show him how to be one.
Right.
And
That's very classy of you.
Thank you. And my mom, growing up in the era that she was on the ground fighting for all the rights that are now trying to be taken away from us. Right?
Yeah.
And we don't know enough about that history because, I mean, it was bloody. The cops attacked. Civil rights was not popular. Now we're like, we're losing them. Back then people were like, take them.
Yeah.
And so my mom had a very complicated relationship with her own skin color. And she always was made to feel less than. You know, it was like you grow up watching little girls get spit on when they're trying to go to school.
Yeah.
And you always think, what's wrong with me? And here I come, a color that is diametrically opposed to hers. Like, people growing up would always like, whose kid is that? Whose kid are you watching? And then,
whose kid are you watching?
Yes, right? And it's created a sort of chasm between my mother and I because I was the color of the people who looked down on her. And she finally admitted this to me on national television. She talks about me putting all my secrets in the book. I wish my daughter was darker so I could have bonded with her. She admitted this on 2020, back when they used to do more than crime. Yeah. And I remember sitting there because as a mother, she always says, we love each other no matter
How did you guys end up on 2020?
My second book, Mixed, was about, and I always thought, how did we end up on 2020? Because I was working on Scrubs at the time, and it was ABC, and my book was coming out. So someone somewhere in PRville said, let's put her on ABC to promote this book and Scrubs. And so they're sitting in my mom's house. Deborah Roberts was so cool. I'm right. and she was interviewing my mom about what it feels like to raise a daughter who looks nothing like you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had never heard my mom be that honest about...
And did you keep your shit together on national television?
I did. Hopefully I did. I would have to look back.
Well, I mean, either way.
You know, I tried to. I remember thinking, oh my God.
I would have been sweating like a whore in church. I would have been...
And I was surprised she even said it, but Deborah Roberts was her complexion, and I thought she felt comfortable to say that.
Yeah.
But I never brought it up to her while she was alive because I didn't understand why I was scared of the answer. I was scared of
digging into it.
Yes, because she was never the type of mom who talked emotions. She was all about go to work. We fought to have the right to work at the same places that other people did. That's what's important in life. Yeah. And I'm more like, I hate working. I hate traffic.
I want to be a lady of leisure.
Yo, right?
Come on, Mom. Didn't I fight for leisure also?
Thank you. Like, to have the choice of not to do this and feel like I'm just a cog in the corporate machine every day. I miss COVID. Not for the people dying, but just like, wow, I can stay home and look at birds for a couple hours.
And it's all allowed.
So
do you think she got shit from her sort of colleagues in the Black Panthers for getting together with your dad?
Not the guys. She told me that she literally had to because all of the black men in the Black Panthers, she's probably exaggerating, but I understand, looked down on women of her complexion, and they married either white women or women who look like me.
Say that again. The men in the Black Panthers preferred light-skinned women.
Yes! I mean, it's a mentality that we're brought up with. And again, her generation, white people have everything. They get to work. They get to go to school without people yelling at them. You know, they get to exist. So it was always like, there must be something better about
aspirational.
Them. Yes. Wow. And so she said, everybody, no matter how educated I was, every black man that I tried to, would always kind of put me down. I was a little too dark. So she found my dad. She told me that she thought he was light-skinned because when his mother moved to the hood, she found a black boyfriend. So he lived in a house with a black man and a white woman. So there's no way you thought my redhead dad was... The lies we tell ourselves. But now that have a grandson who's blonde-haired and blue-eyed, the looks I get when we're in Mall of America and I'm walking him around, I think, I get it, Mom. I get it. you want to wear a sign, that explains what happened.
Yeah.
Because I get looks from Black people sometimes like, ooh, she really just fucked all the color out of her color line. Or people just looking like, how did that happen? And I find myself wanting to explain, but I don't want my grandson to pick up on any of that. So I make sure I hold his hand and I'm proud.
Yeah.
Which my mom didn't always do.
Right.
Because it was embarrassing to her.
Right. I mean, there's like that thing where we only know what we know, just like your parents when they were growing up. Same for you. And then I feel like generationally now we're like, okay, I can recognize that I'm having an urge to do something. The urge is wrong.
Yes!
So I have to do the other thing.
Yes!
Which is harder. And they weren't so good at that.
Yes! And it's like, for me now, having a younger child in my life, it's like, oh my God, I can't just be like, what you looking at? I want him to just see that we can walk with our hand held high and we love each other and who cares who's staring at us.
Yeah.
And I never thought that would be hard. I hate admitting that sometimes I'm like, oh God, this sucks.
Yeah. I mean, we have to have some hard conversations around here. We have this amazing au pair, Maria, who you just met. And she's Black, and my kids are not Black. And when she takes them out into the world, sometimes my son can be a handful. And she gets really nervous about, like, reading him the riot act in public because she feels nervous, especially as an immigrant. She feels nervous, like, correcting him in public.
I get that.
Which breaks my heart.
Oh.
Because I'm like, throw the book at him. He knows right from wrong, but, that's just something that I will never have to contend with, and it kills me that she does.
But I love that you said that we have had to have hard conversations because I think a lot of times we avoid those, and she would just be walking around feeling, oh my God, I don't know what to do all the time. Bless you for having the hard conversation.
Well, honestly, to her credit. I mean, in the sense that because of my white privilege, I wouldn't even have thought about it being a potential issue. And she's the one that raised it with me, and then we were able to talk about it. It's also interesting because her idea of Blackness coming from Brazil is different to the concept of Blackness here.
Yes.
It has its own complexity, and it's like still a culture that subjugates people based on the color of their skin.
Yes.
But it's just a different history. So there's a lot of like trying to untangle all of that stuff all of the time.
It's so different, and I didn't realize until I traveled to Brazil, I was so American-minded, Yeah. And I went over there, and I was like, people were like, you're not Black. It's a whole different system. I'm like, the world is just so crazy. Like, it's just, I just want to exist and be happy and watch birds and play with my grandson.
That's why she's moving to a bunker, everybody. Okay, so growing up, you're in this environment. How old were your parents, or were you when your parents got divorced?
I was 8.
8, okay. So, like, pretty formative years for a girl.
Yes.
Or for anybody, for that matter. But, like, you're just before sort of that young womanhood starts. Yes. And you're growing up in a city, so everything starts a little bit earlier for kids in general.
Woo, yeah.
Now, when you found out they were getting divorced, were you relieved, or was this stressful?
I remember just feeling like it was a fact, because I overheard my mom saying it they had friends who would come over, and they just kind of announced it. And I remember just thinking, oh, that's happening. And I had no idea how it was going to be. Again, we didn't have those emotional talks. I just thought, this is a fact I have to deal with. I didn't feel bad about it until we moved, and so I went to a new Catholic school. And I remember the nun reading about things that happen in families, divorce, abuse. And she looked around the room and said, but that won't happen to any of us because we're good Christians. And I thought, oh God. Should I raise my hand? No, my mom. Yes, right?
That's a hard no. Absolutely not. But that's very interesting also, that whole idea of like, well, we didn't talk about emotions. I mean, as a Jewish person, like, there's a lot of feelings talking, but I'm married to a waspy person, and like, it's a real waspy thing.
And I've only recently found out it's a Black American thing in certain ways, just because all of the things that were passed down from Jim Crow and slavery and segregation, don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about. It's like, as a child, don't stand out. Don't be the reason that anyone can take me away from you.
Yeah.
And so it's a different version of waspy, but I think Again, our parents did not have access to therapy. Man, I'm like, if you got to cry it out, if we got to scream, let's get it on.
Yes. There's so many feelings in this house. So you're growing up in this environment. You moved to schools. You mentioned Catholic school. I know your mom's was a big religious person in her life. For you, what was your relationship with your religion growing up?
I hated it. Hated it from the start. And something I was told about my mom from her sisters. We don't say anything bad about the family, except one sister will tell me privately. Because I always wondered why, if my mom was so religious, why did we never go to church coming up? She sent me to Catholic school because it was better.
Yeah.
And so my aunt told me my mom tended to take on the personalities of the men, whatever man she was dating. My dad didn't go to church. She didn't go to church. My dad was kind of the revolutionary white boy in the hood. And so she was more revolutionary. Then she met a man who claimed to be a reverend, who may or may not be, you'll see in the book. But so then she started going to church all the time all of a sudden. But she held on to that identity after I moved out, I think she found a lot of solace in the church. Solace, whatever the word is.
Depends on the person.
Okay. And so that became, everything revolved around church.
Community.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah.
That's where she got her community from. But yeah, that was a different mom than when I was in my formative years. And I remember her telling me, we just got you baptized at the closest Methodist church because we kind of thought we don't want you to go to hell. Yeah.
Just in case.
Yes.
It's the community thing, I think, is very real and probably why it's very enticing for so many people. But I feel like it also translates to the way somebody runs their house. Like, was it strict curfews and stuff like that for you?
So strict. And even when I came home and I had a boyfriend that I was seeing for a long time, we were engaged at that point. Couldn't stay with her because Christ wouldn't like it. I hate to laugh because if people believe in that, that's what they believe.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking, it's so restrictive. There's so many laws. Like the man that she married him in Vegas. She asked me to come with him. Once again, if you're a reverend, why are you getting married in Vegas?
Yeah.
And I remember saying, let's go to a magic show, guys, afterwards. And he said, you have the devil in you.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I never heard that.
No dancing, no magic. No fun.
What?
Whatsoever.
Sounds horrible.
Horrible.
Why did God give us the ability to dance?
That's crazy. Well, I mean, no, yeah, I feel comfortable saying that's crazy.
I do too. Thank you.
I feel fine with that. Now, this is really niche, but do you remember the movie Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts?
Yes.
There's one scene from that movie, or like one sort of recurring theme. Julia Roberts' character, she never is finding the right guy. She keeps running away from her partners, and she always orders her eggs the way they have their eggs. That throughout the whole movie, like she's with this guy, she's getting scrambled eggs. This guy, she's getting poached, and that's her go-to order. And it's so funny that they like the same thing. And then like part of her coming into her own is like deciding what her egg order is. And I think about that all of the time because it's so easy to defer your identity to somebody else because it's just like taking a decision off the plate. I have sympathy for your mom.
But you talk about perimenopause, I'm like, you're about to make me cry because it's so powerful. I need to go home and rewatch that movie because, I think we've all done the same thing, whether it's in our career life or our love life. Yeah. I've definitely done it.
Yeah.
And I'm at the age I'm 51, and I'm just learning how I like my eggs.
Well, and I believe that. And I think that, all of this stuff, I'm earlier in my journey than you, but now when I look around and I see like women in muumuus with crystals, I'm like, I fucking get it. Like, of course everybody becomes a witch at a certain age. Women become witches at certain ages because they're literally just coming into their power finally. And I get it. But like when you're younger, you're like, that's fucking weird. What's with the crystals?
I thank you for saying that because literally all I want to be is Mrs. Roper. Like, I was her for Halloween because I get it now.
Yeah.
We painted her as an eccentric. No, she had it right.
She got it. She got it.
If you're too young to know who Mrs. Roper is, look her up.
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes. But I very much am like trying to figure out, I don't want to wait any longer to figure out how I like my eggs. And also, I feel really tired all the time. So I'm just like eating my kids' leftover eggs still. But I'm trying to make my own eggs at the same time. Anyways, I feel like the eggs thing is a good metaphor. So, okay, so you're growing up in this pretty strict environment.
Yes.
And at what point in your life do you realize it obviously has to happen before high school, I'm guessing, that you realize you have this creative thing inside of you?
I remember just being broke growing up and always having to entertain ourselves. And back then, we didn't have tablets, so it was just books. And I just remembered realizing that books could take you out of anything, like your brain, or talk to somebody else about a book and they saw things differently. Like, it was the best thing in the world to me. And so I started writing. And I remember I went to this really bougie high school in the suburbs of Philadelphia before I transferred to Performing Arts High School in Philadelphia. And teacher pulled me aside and said, "Your writing always makes me laugh or cry, and that's what it's supposed to do." And I just thought, oh my God, I have the ability to bring out emotions in people, something we don't do at home. And that compliment stuck with me.
Yeah.
And when I transferred to the Performing Arts High School, another teacher said to me, "You have a real gift." And I remember thinking, I'm glad she thinks it's a gift because I have to work really hard on it and I overthink every line. But
yeah.
Being praised for something, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
This is like drugs.
Yes.
Tell me more nice things.
Exactly. And I wasn't good at sports. I wasn't good at much else. And I just ran with that.
And then you show up in this environment when you do transfer, and then you're in this like kind of storied institution for the arts in Philadelphia. I mean, when we think about the people who have come out of that school, you know, I mentioned earlier Sean Stockman, who's been on the pod, was there, along with the other guys from Boys to Men. You were there with Questlove, who I think still remains a good friend.
Questlove graduated, but Questlove told me to go there. Yes, he is still a friend. He told me, we were working together at a telemarketing thing. He was 18, had just graduated from CAPA, we called it, Creative and Performing Arts, and was saving up to get his demo. And we sold accidental death and dismemberment insurance. I remember, I know, right? Calling up people, "Hi, Mr. Jones, can I interest you in?" And people would buy it. And I told him,
Sorry to Bother You. Do you remember that movie?
Yes, of course, yes, exactly. And I think, how did I do that? It was the worst. But we got little bonuses. It was the first time I ever got a $100 check. And I told him, I like writing. My school in the suburbs is becoming too expensive. Where should I go? He said, "You should go where I just went, Performing Arts."
Wow.
And the first year I went there, Boys to Men was filming their Motown video outside of the school. Amazing for them. We were in the hood, like the projects, our school, and the kids in our school had walked out because we kept getting beat up. And we walked out until they gave us school buses. Well, that day, people in Philly had never seen craft services, and like a mini riot started because there's all this wealth in the middle of this, and there were no cops. We should have cops. I don't know where the cops were, and I got my ass beat.
Because of craft services?
Yes.
Because of Motown Philly?
And I just remember
Sean.
The guys they were on a crane. I remember going up because they wanted to get a picture of Creative Performing Arts High School. And as they're going up in the crane, I just remember I'm going down. I'm not even really sure what started, but it was during the era of gold chains. I had a gold chain on, and I remember my principal saying the next day, "I bet you won't wear that gold chain anymore." I'm like, "No, because they snatched it." But I just remember, wow. And then I started crying, and it was just like, you don't cry in Philly after you get hit. You're the Rocky City.
See, this is what I mean about you Philly people. It's like Philly till you die, and also everybody has a crazy story about shit that happened to them in Philly. It's like trauma bonding. You're all trauma bonded.
You ain't lying. It is. It truly is. And because I just had a conversation with another woman who's from Philly, and we were laughing at something horrible that happened, and she had to turn to her daughter and say, "This isn't normal." Normal, that's why I hate it.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Remember when we got our feet. Ha 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 ha. No.
Exactly.
No. So, okay, so you're in this really special environment because I can't imagine that before being exposed to this world, you considered that maybe something to do with your writing could be something you get paid for as a job. But then everyone in this high school is trying to make their creative passion their job, right?
Yes. It was the only thing I knew, again, this is pre-internet time, was I remember asking my teacher, how can I get paid to do this? Journalism. So
Sure.
I know. Bad choice. And so I went down that route. And I remember seeing, I can't pay back my student loans if I take these jobs.
Yeah.
And so I happened to fall into it. I just kept writing a blog before they were even called blogs. I just kept talking about how broke I was in college when I went there. And people started reading it. They were like, this is good. This is funny. I tried for 2 years to get a literary agent to make a book out of it. I mean, I got rejected so many times. It just became, I see the mail. They would come through the mail. Rejection. I know it's rejection. So then I started OK Player with Questlove. And one day I get an email saying, hey, I work at Random House. I'm an editor. Do you think you'd ever want to make this into a book? Of course I do.
Like, actually.
Right? I've been getting rejected. I wanted to send a letter to everybody who rejected me. And it really blew up. I was on Oprah. It was amazing. And beyond my wildest dreams that I could actually...
This is Diary of a Broke Girl.
Broke Diaries,
Diaries, sorry.
yes. No, that's right. Yes, same thing.
We have a lot of content to cover today. That's things you've made.
Yeah, it was Broke Diaries. And, I just remember thinking, this is wild that people are reading my words and I get paid for it. But I was still kind of broke because you don't get paid.
Turns out, yeah.
Yeah. So I said, how can I do something else? And led me to TV writing.
And at the same time that you're going through this, you and Questlove start OK Player, which really takes off.
Yes.
And you've become this sort of like hub for the cultural conversation around music, like hip hop.
Yes.
And do you really, it was kind of a sweet spot in terms of a time to be creating an online community, right?
Yes. But here's the thing. After the book came out, I agreed with all the people in charge that I would just walk away. So I'm celebrating this book. I'm on Oprah, but I'm so sad all the time because I just got kicked out of a community that I founded. And I said the reason that I'm leaving is so I can pursue Hollywood because I didn't want anyone to be mad at the roots or just, it was...
Right.
And also I just didn't know how to stand up for myself, Yeah. And so there was this... I think there was this pride that I'm doing great, but a lot of it was to cover up how sad I was, Yeah. And that's a really false sense of pride, just so other people can think you're doing okay when your heart is hurting.
Famously.
Yes.
Now, okay, we're going to take a quick detour to talk about friendship because you have this friend that you started something with. You guys are friends to this day.
Yes.
But it also sounds like you've weathered some storms in your friendship.
Oh, we didn't talk for a while.
Which is a really hard thing to do.
Yes, yeah.
And to come back together and, also I feel like this is a theme with you because, you also found a lot of ways to understand your mom, even though she was a complicated person for you. It doesn't seem to me like you're quick to walk away from a relationship that means something to you. How do you do that? That's hard.
The honest answer might be a combination of low self-esteem and realizing we're all on our journey. I don't want anyone... I've been walked away from.
Yeah.
And it hurts. And I'm not the type of person who's good without closure. And I've had to get better at sometimes you don't get it.
Yes.
But I really like human beings. And I one day want to wake up, we're all in this mess together. Let's figure it out, people.
That's only going to happen with aliens, I've decided.
Oh my God! You think that too?
Oh yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. Until we get the aliens, we're all going to just be fighting each other.
And I 100% agree. I pray for the aliens.
Yeah.
We will figure it all out
We'll
so
figure it
quick.
out, but we need some aliens.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
always thought I was crazy.
It's the only thing. We need some sort of climate change isn't enough. We need a real a green guy to come down.
Oh my God! Has anyone written about that yet? Because it's true. It's
Probably,
true.
Probably.
I remember after 9/11, and there's a documentary called Barbershops, and it takes place right after 9/11 in New York City. And Black people are walking around like, this is the best day of my life for the first time. No one's holding their purse. Sad thing is they were doing it to Muslim people. But it was like, when we figure out that there's another common enemy, we forget who the other enemy is.
Yes.
So aliens is the answer.
Yeah, it needs a face. Like Project Hail Mary. Like, in that book, even that wasn't even, and Alien didn't even have a face, but like Earth sort of got it together enough. Okay, so friendship, tough. It sounds like you have figured out a way, though, to give people grace and to come back to a version of a friendship. Yes. Have you figured out to do the thing? I also often need closure, but don't get it sometimes, and I'm still having a hard time with that, so that really resonates with me. But we have another weird thing in common, and I need to figure out how you got to where you got. So you leave high school, you end up at an Ivy League school.
Yes.
No big deal. She's an Ivy girl. So you end up at Penn. Does that mean anything to your family?
These are good questions because my mom worked at the hospital and she told me my whole life, you're going to Penn because it's free. So I worked my butt off to make sure I got into Penn. But then she had to sign a paper for it to be free. And for some reason, my mom and her economic anxiety of being a divorced single mom had it in her head that if I got an F, she had to pay back all the money. So she didn't sign the paper.
Oh, Mom.
But that gave birth to the Broke Diaries.
Okay.
And I never, throughout doing press, she told me before I went on Oprah, don't tell Oprah the truth, because Oprah likes to get in people's business about why you were so broke in college.
Yeah.
So I just remember sitting on there just being like, don't embarrass your mom. Don't embarrass your mom. Don't embarrass your mom. And I would hate to watch it back because I was so stiff and I don't even remember what Oprah asked. My first answer was like, I love my mom.
Well, you do. I mean, there is that sort of like toxic love that it's just like you want to protect them because you know how much they gave for you, and it comes at a cost to yourself.
Yes.
That's a heavy burden.
That's exactly it. And I realize now how much kids love their parents regardless and how much they just want that love back.
Yeah.
And I was raised being a woman in comedy, and especially a Black woman in comedy. I remember my first year on Scrubs, all of the women who were married were planning how to have their baby so not to disrupt their career.
Sure, classic.
And I remember Black women coming to me saying, yeah, you're the only Black person in the Scrub writer's room, only Black woman. You can't do that. You will be fired. So I just remember thinking, this is not something I can have. This is not something I can have. And now that I have people who send me Mother's Day cards, I'm like, I get to have it, and it's great. And I know how to return that love without putting my own, I can curse, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Without putting my own shit on it. Just thank you for loving me. Let's love each other.
Yeah. Well, there's this thing that the TikTok, Instagram generation of parenting says that is so complicated, I think, in practice, but there is truth to it. When you make a kid feel like you don't love them, they don't stop loving you, they stop loving themselves.
Oh, wow.
And that kills me because it's like, well, where's the line? Like, my kid was being really difficult today, and I told them that they were being difficult today, so does that mean they love themselves less today, or did they learn a lesson? Like, I don't know where the line, it's a slippery slope of, like, you don't want your kid to be so placated by you that they don't learn lessons because you're scared that they won't love themselves. But at the same time, you really want them to know that you love them. It's really hard to get.
Girl, you're really going to make me cry in here. That is so true. I've never heard it put in such succinct ways.
Yeah.
I tend to be like social media, but I'm like, you got that one right.
Yeah.
Social media. Good job. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, if someone had said this to me when I was maybe even 10 years ago, like, love is not enough for a marriage, but when it comes to showing people you appreciate them and care, and with kids, that's the most important thing. I can't stand the look in my grandson's eyes when he feels like he did something wrong. It's just like, or he's understanding one of the hard truths about living, it's like, I feel bad when my dog has to, like, you gotta wear a leash,
Yeah.
It's like
watching them suffer.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is the society we live in. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yes. And that's all you can do. My husband and I talk about that all the time. Is like, are we going to teach them the lessons, or is the world going to teach them the lessons and we're going to be the safe space they come back to? I would prefer the second one. Like, in the sense of, obviously, I want my kids to struggle and figure out things for themselves. And also, I don't ever want to teach them, like, an emotional lesson that I don't have to be the one to teach them. Because, like, people are going to be shitty no matter what. So let them go out in the world and have people be shitty, and then, like, let me be the safe person. I don't know. It's really hard to figure out.
No, I mean, that just sounds amazing. And I
don't know if I'm doing it, but I want to do it that way. Guys, if you listen to this when you're older, that's really what I was trying to do.
Your kids are great, man, from what I see.
Yeah, they're wild down there. Okay, so you go to Penn, but you study medical anthropology.
Yes.
And this is what I want to talk about, because I also studied anthropology and journalism. And I was really interested in military anthropology, and I feel like medical anthropology is similarly niche. Did the medical part come from your mom working in the hospital?
The medical part came from, oh my God, I need something to sound like I'm smart. I'm going up against all these engineering students and medical anthropology. Even the smartest people have to ask me, what is that? Yeah. It sounds like it's so hard and like so deep.
It's got medical in it.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember the only thing I ever used it for was scrubs.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, talk about a random bet paying off later. It had to have helped when you were trying to get in that writer's room.
Yes, and I think about Hollywood is so different from every other industry, just in the way you interview for jobs. I didn't know Bill Lawrence, creator of Scrubs, shrinking all your favorite shows. My agent at the time took a long time to get an agent, sat me down, and said, "You're going to meet Bill Lawrence. And you have a drive on." And I said, "Well, how long is the drive?" I didn't realize a drive on meant a pass to get on the lot. And I was like, "Girl, you have a drive on. How long is it?" No, it's a pass.
Yeah, it's a parking pass.
We're sitting and drinking coffee, and University of Pennsylvania prepares you to wear dark suits and talk about your resume. I know, I looked like a freaking fool. And I really think he hired me because he thought, this poor girl. Like...
I don't think so.
Partially.
He wasn't pity hiring literally anybody.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. It was like, well, maybe good writing and this poor girl.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, I'm not sure if this is a job interview. I should tell him why I'm qualified.
Right.
And, medical anthropology. And I remember telling him that I knew what kuru was. And it was, I can't even remember what it is now, but it's one of those illnesses that only certain people in certain regions get.
Sure.
And I remember him thinking, this girl is really weird. And next thing I know, my agent's calling me like, you nailed it. Sitting there in my interview suit, meeting Bill Lawrence. I know.
I mean, just like, believe in fate or not, the fact that random piece in your story ends up paying off in like one of the most, besides ER, probably the most recognizable medical sitcom of all time. Not that ER is a sitcom, but TV show. Half hour.
And when you say that, it makes me realize that so many things in our life, now that I'm more than through half of my life, are like that. You're like, why is this happening to me? Why am I being kicked out of the place I created with no money? Oh, wow. Medical anthropology. Here comes Bill Lawrence. And you mean the job has a pension? It's one of the few jobs that has a pension now?
Crazy.
So I can, at 52, start collecting a check and I spend time with the people I love? Where in America do they do that at? Not many places now.
Yeah, sign me the fuck up.
Girl.
That is crazy. So you finish college, and then are you going straight to Hollywood? Is that the plan?
No, I finished college. I'm starting OK Player. Questlove called me.
You're still in Philly.
He's like, well, no, once I finished college, I was like, what do I do with this medical anthropology degree?
Yeah,
and
sure.
I remember we used to have these big books in the help you with employment section of University of Penn. And I remember reading the anthropology one and being so sad because everyone worked in a museum for like $22,000 a year. And I thought, again, I'm never going to pay back my student loans. And journalism, because of the internet, had just started going downhill. So I worked from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. at a sleep apnea clinic. I know.
sounds like a real snooze.
But up, and it was. But I couldn't snooze. And I'm 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I remember the lady hiring me, and I'm living with my mom. I'm back at home because I'm broke.
Sure.
And the lady saying, do you have any problem with, because they wanted to study sleep and they didn't want to impose any undue burden on people who had sleep problems. So she said, are you okay with staying up from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m.? And I thought, yeah, it's the hardest.
I used to work the overnight shift in the newsroom, and man,
I wanted to.
it's not natural.
And what I had to do is, I'm sure they have the technology to do this now, but every time somebody went, I had to chart it.
That's really
So
funny.
you're watching people sleep or try to sleep, not able to sleep, but you have to make sure you get every one of those. And then I remember Questlove calling me saying, Ange, I really want to do a website. I know you know how to do websites. You're good at community building. Can I said, oh my God, you couldn't have asked me.
Thank God. Just tell me it's not 12 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah, I've had a lot of, I always think back to that job. That was the hardest job. The people who work the hardest always get paid the least, man.
Facts. Like, if we think about that teacher who told you were a really good writer, how much were they getting paid, and they changed your whole life? It's crazy.
Let me tell you, when I grew up and I found out how much teachers get paid, I thought, she stayed after class to tell me something. You couldn't have caught me running home fast.
I know.
Yeah, but it's always the people in your life that say either the most positive or negative things that you remember. So I try to be that person now.
Yeah,
man.
it's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
Really?
Like, support people is free. It costs nothing.
And it makes you feel good too.
It does.
It's really like, yeah, but when we're in the grind, I understand how hard it is. Like, even coming here today.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's trying to get in front of each other to get to a job they hate. And I'm like, just be the person that lets people over and smiles. And we don't even wave hands to thank people for letting us in anymore.
It's true. It's totally true. The other day I took my kids to ice cream, and my son is like practicing being a little bit more independent. So we were sitting outside, and he went into the ice cream shop to ask for a glass of water by himself. And he was like very excited about it. He comes out, and I was like, how did it go? I said, did you say please and thank you? And he said, I said please and thank you. And I told her she was doing a really good job.
Oh, bless his.
And I was like, love to see it. Compliments are free.
Again, you're going to make me cry.
How freaking cute is that? I was like, that one I did not have on my bingo card, but I was like, because I'm in your boat, I always want to like say something nice to somebody if I can.
Yes, you never know. And I can tell you, I was going through some of the hardest times in my life and I can point to people who did that for me. And
you
it's
really
like,
remember.
Yeah, we've forgotten how to just be human sometimes and what feels good to us as human beings, not as whatever our, adjectives are. Now, I'm a working mother, I'm a this, I'm that.
Yeah.
Just be freaking kind.
Just be kind, guys. Okay, so you finally make this leap. Okay, player, that chapter sort of finishes for you. You're now a published author. You are working on Scrubs. How old are you when you start Scrubs?
26. Crazy. Maybe 27. Yeah.
And talk to me about what does the composition of that writer's room look like?
Because it might sound, but then again, I know some writers' rooms that are all white now. It was all white. And it was in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Where we weren't as PC, perhaps, as we are now. It was very... there's a term in writing called coloring up the script. Mm-hmm. And it means making it funnier. And just for the first year, whenever someone said color up the script, they would point to me. We got the color. Like, oh, God. But I got to be honest. There's something... Besides all of the... Like you say, my... ring the doorbell on my compound is going to say fuck the patriarchy. Yeah. Yes, because it's one of those things you have to survive as a woman and a woman of color that's like, I'm making it better for others. But it takes its toll on you.
Yeah.
And I just remember it was a time when women had to be rail thin or you weren't attractive and your agent felt free to tell you might it makes me you might have gotten a job if you wore a little lipstick.
The fuck?
I know! You had to be, not only had to be funny and know how to tell. Cute! You had to be cute. And sadly, it was kind of true because they were all men in power. Yeah. And it was like, so you're not only worried if you're doing a good job at work, it's like, does my outfit look okay? When the guys just get to come in sloppy and just, it's a real, I hated it. You know, I hated that part, but it's not something you were allowed to question because you were lucky to be in the room.
Of course.
But I have to say there's part of that experience that I miss because as I grew in the room, I became more comfortable with saying, that's not appropriate. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know? And being able to say that, I'm not sure if in a lot of writers' rooms I could say that now because HR is all over the place because we had so many lawsuits from back then. It's like, but there was a freedom in just telling people, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
You know, don't make another stupid period joke. We're supposed to be better than that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best you have. And there is a weird learning that goes on when you're not afraid to say things. A lot of guys said, well, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Well, you have a daughter now. Maybe you should.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was a time when I've had men in that writer's room, to their credit, apologize to me. Because, I mean, one of the guys I worked with turned out to be, I think he got the moniker of the most prolific serial rapist in Hollywood.
Oh, charming. Oh, that's on your resume, dickhead.
I couldn't believe it. And I just thought, oh my God, I worked with this guy for 6 years. And the things he was doing, I had no clue.
That's scary.
But it tells you about the culture of the room and that he went on to have other jobs and there were apparently always whispers about him. But it was just a boys' club.
Man.
And so now I have so many little mentees and I look at them even though they're like 28 and 30, they're kids to me. You know, I'm like, just that I enjoy so much telling people how to navigate the room. And you're in this room, don't you ever not speak up, you know, and say your point of view. But also don't feel like you always have to have the woman or the woman of color point of view. You can speak about anything because being women, we have to learn to survive all these systems. Yeah. We know men better than men know men.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that makes characters so successful is, as a viewer, you're observing them behave, right? So, like, you're not them. So how a man behaves in the world is often most observed by the women around them.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, those insights are actually really valuable.
Yes.
Because they don't realize they're doing it, and some of the funniest stuff they do, they don't realize they're doing.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Like,
especially for comedy.
Yes, it's like we never had a word for manspreading until recently, and it's like we would make fun of all the guys sitting like that, and they didn't even realize how much space they were taking up. It was just how they sat as men. They didn't care if they were encroaching on your territory. Being able to call people out on stuff they do like that is what makes comedy funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the funny stuff is. And the idea of, like, you punch up.
Yes.
You know? That's very important, I think. I'm not a fan of the comedy that at all takes shots at people in lesser positions.
Thank you.
I just don't think it's funny. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm with you, and that it bothers me when people say you can't be funny anymore. No, you just don't punch down.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not a member of that group, you don't know how that group sees the world. Be very careful if you're going to make a joke about that group. You know, it's basically all it is.
Yeah.
Make fun of your own stuff.
Also, like, how about the billionaires? Like, go for it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, go crazy.
Yeah, and it's so sad.
My kids call cyber trucks diaper trucks, and, like, I will never tell them to stop. Ever.
Thank you. Remember when we used to like Elon? And even I was like, ugh.
I know. We all really took a turn on that one. Wait, okay, so where in this story, I know you were married once before.
Yes.
And you get divorced around the time you find out your mom's cancer diagnosis?
Yes.
So everything kind of, you start Scrubs at 26. Are you finished? Or have you finished yet? No, you're still in it.
We were on the first my first writer's strike. And I just remember
2007.
Yeah. I just remember thinking we had tried therapy and I just didn't want to be in the relationship anymore because it was a relationship that on paper looked really good. You know, he came from a great household. He was a great guy. He wasn't a bad guy. Just, I was the only one working at the time.
Yeah.
Like, he worked for his family. And I remember when the strike hit, I just remember being like, I don't want this. I don't want to be a superwoman. I feel this is too much for me. And just, we weren't getting along.
She wants to be a lady of leisure.
I'm not even going to lie. There's nothing wrong with being a lady of leisure. And So then we got divorced, and all I remember now is like telling him in therapy and how much it hurt him, and me saying, I promise you'll be happier without me. And I mean it, I think he is. He got remarried. But yeah, I was divorced, and that was long and drawn out and painful because I realized that a lot of people don't have health insurance. So holding on to health insurance after you're divorced is a big deal. So you got to stay married for a little while. So you're like, yeah, he's on my insurance, and I can see everything he's getting done on my insurance. But yeah, so then I was divorced. I think by the time I was 31, I was fully divorced. And that's when my mom, I went home and she said, don't tell anybody in my church you're divorced. God doesn't like that.
God does not like that.
Okay, God.
Also, Mom, you're divorced.
What?
Sorry.
Like, no, it's true. But then I realized she probably carried that shame too. And by marrying a man she thought she was a reverend.
Read the book to find out the truth.
She had got a little bit of status back because not only am I married the head of the church.
Yeah. A church. Some sort of temple of some kind.
Right.
Shrine. Okay, so you get divorced at 31. You do this really hard thing of being like, I know this all looks good on paper, it's not working for me. Which, for a sort of people-pleasy, I want people to like me, that takes a lot of bravery and courage. You do that thing. You're also in a writer's room where I think from what I hear of people in writer's rooms, part of it is like, you do need to be a good time and you do need to be a good vibe and nobody likes the downer.
Yes.
And so, like, when you come into the room, you need to, like, bring good vibes. Like, you can't really have a bad day in there. Nobody likes that.
Yeah.
Especially, I imagine, as a woman.
Yes, of course not. Everyone will say it or not, we're the caretakers. You know, we're looked at for that. And if we have a bad day, somehow we're throwing off the vibe of the room. You know?
It's your fault. It's like, nobody's going to take care of you. And then in the midst of all of this, you are navigating a divorce, and you're also hearing from your peers, like, don't have kids.
Yes.
Was it something that had ever been in your consciousness as something you wanted?
I bought a really big house with my husband. We were like, we're going to use these bedrooms. And, you know, also because that's what good families do. I was never raised to think you can't have kids. So that was always, you know, it was always when you have kids.
Yeah.
But once that marriage went down the drain, I thought, perhaps I'm not meant to have it, and I'll adopt if it ever really comes to it. Then my career took a nosedive where I didn't even have a place to live, a steady place to live. So I was like, I can't do that. But the time was never right. People say the time is never going to be right, but one of my biggest fears was having a kid with someone and being a single mom like my mom, because writing this book as an adult who was her age when she was raising me, I'm like, my God, I would have thrown myself off a bridge and maybe taken my kids with me.
Yeah.
This society acts like mothers are so important. They don't treat them like that.
They don't treat them like that.
At all. Any caretaking role.
Yeah.
No, it's horrible. It's something I wouldn't wish on anyone. Like, we don't have villages to help raise them anymore. So yeah, that was also one of my fears. But everybody I worked with, and most Black women I work with, do not have kids because it's like, they're going to say, and people did say these things when women went off to have kids. Oh yeah, I guess she doesn't care about her career anymore. So if they say that about her, what are they going to say about me? Okay, I'll just stay on this IUD.
And then in this trajectory, are you watching Shonda Rhimes and her career?
Yes, Shonda Rhimes who adopted kids, right? I remember at the end of Scrubs was ending and she was just taking off, and there was some jealousy around, and people were like, this is just Scrubs without laughs.
Well, guys, she did pretty good for herself. I think she's doing just fine.
But I remember it was such a shock that a Black woman created the show, and people, God, we lived in well, I don't know how different it was, but just people were openly like, oh, she's Black and the cast is diverse and it has fat people on it. Like, it was mind-blowing because when I tell you, some of the actresses I worked with back then, if they had a scene that had to show even a little bit of skin, they'd be like, I'm not going to eat all day. I'm not going to eat all day. And that was just accepted. Good. You better look good on this TV.
Yeah.
Because we had dials we turned back then that showed when people liked certain scenes. And the dials would always go up when women showed skin. And so I know.
Like Nielsen rating things?
Yes.
God. Okay, so you are watching your peers. You're figuring out what the shape of your life takes. Scrub ends, and how old are you?
Scrubs ends, I'm about 32.
You're about 32.
Yes.
Then you enter this kind of rough period, right?
Whew, yeah. After the strike.
After the strike, times are tough.
Yeah.
You're, what, 35 when you get that call from your mom? How old are you?
When I get the call that she's finally ready to tell me that it's not just a little bit of cancer, it's a big bit of cancer.
Yeah.
And yes, that's when I went out to my mom's house because she had married the man who may or may not be a preacher. And he was bogarting her diagnosis because apparently if God wants something to happen, that's what happens. When also he didn't have any money, so I found out that all of his other wives had passed away, and that's how he lived. He had more than one wife.
Guys, it's a good book. Good grief, pass the bread. Mom is dead. We'll put it in the show notes, obviously. Okay, so you make this decision, and you're the eldest daughter, so I think there's some of this that factors into it. You're the woman, the girl, the woman, the daughter who says, I need to take care of my mom. I'm going to pick her up and I'm going to bring her here.
Yes, kicking and screaming if I have to, because also I wanted to spend time with her. We were so focused on working and, proving ourselves to the world. She worked when she had stage 4 cancer, and she had lesions around her neck, and the chemo was making her sick, but she would wrap a scarf around it because she didn't want anyone to think that she couldn't come into work, that she wasn't strong. And I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And when I told her, Mom, come out to California with me, I didn't think it was a lie at the time. I said, we have some really good doctors, better than these Philly ones. They'll find the cure. And I also said, you just need to rest. She had never rested as a single mom, never. And as a nurse who could make money doing double overtime and triple overtime, that was almost her addiction because she was so afraid of running out of money.
Yeah.
So the thought of just sitting and relaxing was so far, right?
Yeah.
It's like when some people go crazy in retirement because they don't know what to do. But I really said, Mom, come on. And I took her around and made all of her friends say, it's okay to go. It's okay to go. And I'm so glad I did, because I really did get to spend that time with her, talking and getting to know her in a way we didn't. We had a very shallow relationship. How's work? How you doing? Not, what emotion did you feel? How are your friends doing? Who's your best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that.
So, and in this time, are you thinking to yourself, like, I'm finding ways to connect with her, I'm finding ways to maybe forgive her for some of the harder parts of our relationship, because I know that I don't know how much time I get with her. Was that part of for you, that there was sort of this deadline?
Yeah. I didn't even think the deadline was real, because as a society, we don't talk about death openly. And none of the doctors, I write about this, no one ever said the word, she's definitely going to die. And everything I knew about breast cancer made it seem pink, and people are walking these walkathons, and soon if we all eat enough yogurt with these pink tops, everything will be okay. So I never saw, they need to have something like they have on smoking. People who smoke, you see this, you're going to die. For breast cancer, it's all so pink and cheery. I just thought, there's no way my mom is not going to die at 64. And it took a nurse, one of her hospice nurse, to tell me, no, she's dying.
I was just going to bring up hospice nurses, because I went through this recently-ish with my stepdad. The hospice nurses are angels on earth. And also, they are the only people who tell the truth. Because I kept saying to the hospice nurse, can he get better? He seems like he's doing really well today. Should we take him out of here? He's saying he wants to go home. And they're like, this is a normal part of the dying process. Yes. And this could be a day or it could be 4 days, but he's definitely dying. And for somebody to just look at you and tell you honestly, this person is dying and they're not going to stop dying was the thing that I kept asking ChatGPT, and I'm like, okay, so today his blood pressure is good and he looks good, and this, and is there any way that he's not going to die? And then ChatGPT kept being like, this is all natural part of the process. Talk to the hospice nurse. Because even ChatGPT knew that the only person who's going to be honest with me was the hospice nurse.
That's so deep, because one of the things I learned from Scrubs was how much medical professionals hate when we use the internet to do things. But man, if I was on the internet I think 10% of people who enter hospice end up graduating. It's
Yes. Yes. That's basically what I was doing. Like, is there a statistical likelihood that he's going to leave hospice? And
But we don't have the nuance for it,
No.
because I remember saying to the hospice nurse, I saw this figure. She said, yeah, but if you dig deeper into that, it's because those 10% were misdiagnosed.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, got me.
Yeah. No, yeah, this is still where it is. And also, like, all of the stuff that I think previously I would categorize as woo-woo now sits in this other box for me, where they were just like, he's gonna do this until he's ready to go. Like, he's gonna be here until he's ready to go, and then he's gonna decide.
Yes.
And most people want to die. A lot of our, you know, in her experience of 25 years, a lot of people don't want their loved ones around them when they die.
Yes.
And so my sister, who's sort of like the marshal of us all, was like sending people home. She's like, he's not going to die with you here. You need to leave. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So I leave. And then she looks to my mom. He's not going to die with you here. You need to leave. And she was like, he and I are going to finish this together. And then finally she was like, I have to go take the kids to baseball. I'll be right back. But it's like that sort of decision around passing, and, you know, obviously this isn't everybody's journey, but if there is that sort of hospice runway, there's just so much to be learned from these people. Have you heard of death doulas?
Yes. Yes.
I just heard about this recently.
It's
after he
amazing.
passed.
Yes. I was like, that is because the stuff that they make us do in grief and death, oh my God, it's all medicalized, and it's all, and then as soon as they die, you get like this checklist.
The admin.
Close their credit cards, and I'm on the phone with people like, no, I promise you she really doesn't need cable anymore. You can cancel it. No, thanks for the 40% off. No.
Yeah. No.
It's awesome.
Where she's going, she's going to have better programming.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like,
She can literally watch whatever she wants now.
death doulas, I hope we as a society become more comfortable. And I'm like, I love that they use the word death, not like passing doulas or the others. No, they're just like birth doulas, death doulas.
Yeah.
It's such a process that if I wish the other people, my grandparents who passed, I wish I had been more involved in the process and it wasn't so hidden from me. So when it came time to be with my mom, I wasn't like you. And I was like, nope, this can't be it. You know, no, this is really it. And we all need to accept that the only thing that's certain in life is that we're one day not going to be here.
Fact.
Yes.
Despite that, what that like, all the biohackers are trying to figure out, like, guys, you're going to die at some point. Okay, so this is obviously a complicated time, all the more complicated by the fact that, like, you don't have that religious community anymore, which usually helps shepherd us through these complicated times. And then also, so you're 35, you're broke as fuck.
Yes.
You're, like, lying to your mom about what the financial situation is in the midst of all of this. Like, are you having cortisol fly out of your eyeballs? Like, how are you keeping it together?
You know what is so... Because my only job, I thought, was to make sure my mom was comfortable and definitely didn't die, that was almost a relief outside of the pressure of what can be the entertainment industry, because...
That's really saying something, guys.
Really? And I mean it. It's like, I've worked on shows, even my most recent show, we didn't go home until 5 a.m. and we got 2 hours sleep, and I'm consoling one of the production assistants because she had to sleep in her office, and I'm like, I get to spend time with the person I love, and the only thing I have to do is lie and act like I'm going to a job every day. So I would go out. I volunteered at a place called the Gentle Barn out in Santa Clarita.
Oh, I've been to Gentle Barn.
Yes, I had my own horse that I was in charge of.
Oh my God, guys, I'll send you the link. If you live in the LA area,
Yes.
It is a great activity. We've taken our kids a couple of times.
Oh, it's wonderful. So I would go there, but then I didn't want my mom to be like, why do you smell like horse shit in a writer's room? So I would change my clothes downstairs, then come upstairs and see her. How's work, honey? Oh, it's great. I lied so much just because my mom was so, women have the right to work now, so we're going to do it even if it kills us. Like, people didn't fight for that right for us to not act like we're happy.
Be happy.
The day she moved into my house, there was a man taking photos of my house. And I already knew who he was. He was from the mortgage company, and they take photos before they're going to foreclose.
Sure.
And I couldn't sell the house because this is during that whole financial crisis when we bailed the banks out. Everybody's house was underwater.
Yeah.
I couldn't sell it because I couldn't pay off the difference between what someone would buy it for and what I owed. So I was just stuck waiting for them to foreclose my house. So my mom gets out of the car, sees a man taking pictures of my house. I said, Mom, welcome to LA. That's just paparazzi.
She was like, oh, my daughter's fancy.
There's no paparazzi
No
where I live.
paparazzi. No. Wow. And then, okay, so how long do you have her before she passes in this sort of stage?
I only had her at my house for a month.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I think she would have lasted a lot longer in a very unhealthy state working, because you talk about cortisol,
Yeah.
you know, the things that it makes our body do. Once, I never saw how sick she was until she moved in with me and could just be. And she didn't have to run. She could hide it so much and stay so busy. With me, she just had to sit and watch TV and go outside in the backyard and enjoy things. So I could see clearly how slowly she moved.
Yeah.
And even though I only had a month, it was the best month, because again, we were learning what life could be like if we didn't have all these, if we were ladies of leisure. We were ladies of leisure.
Watch out, Minnesota.
Right? I mean that. And it was just beautiful. Just beautiful. And I hate that so many of us wait until that part to be leisurely around the people we love.
Yeah. I know. I think about that all the time. I spend a lot of time, as I mentioned to you earlier, just like Googling off-grid or like middle of nowhere. I don't know who I think I am. And I certainly, like, my husband is a writer. Like, there's no way he's going off-grid anywhere. But whatever. I think about it a lot. Because forcing yourself to be present is really hard if there's a lot of distractions. But if you take away all the distractions, maybe it's easier to do. I don't know.
It is. It is.
So she passes, and what's going on for you mentally when she does pass? Is it an exhale? Is it a devastation?
I think it's both. At first, because I was the person, me and my brother, the nurse told us, the hospice nurse, people like to pass away alone. So we went outside, and me and my brother were just like, what do we do to take 5 seconds to ourselves? We were like, let's get cigarettes. So we sat outside, and we're just smoking, but right on my front steps. And then we run in after the cigarette, and the nurse tries to stop us, saying, she's passing. But we raised our arm, but we don't care. We're going to go in and tell her it's okay. And we held her hand, and we told her, you know, it's okay to pass. We're going to take care of each other. So watching her finally pass, there was a peace in that, because if you've ever been with someone who's actively dying, there's all types of noises, and it's a death rattle, and it's you watch them and suddenly they can't eat anymore. And you can almost see the only thing they have are the expressions on their face, and it's like you don't want them to live in that pain anymore. No. So there was like, I was proud of her for not, because as a mother, I know she thought that we needed her and she didn't want to go until we said we were okay. Yeah. So I was proud of her for making that choice, because the hospice nurse said, I've never seen anybody hang in there that long. So I was proud. I was relieved for her. Yeah. It was going back to the emptiness of my life. I had hospice nurses around. I had my brother around. All of a sudden, everybody packs up. And here I am divorced with nobody. And that human feeling that I connected to so deeply of having someone to care for was gone. And it's just me and my grief, and I don't know how to take care of that. Yeah. So it was just, I tried, as you'll read in the book, I tried to get my brother to start our own version of a commune with me. Sure.
And he was like, Angela, too much.
You know, but we were in grief, so neither one of us had the emotional capability to say, when we told Mom we're going to take care of each other, it doesn't mean in the same house with a toddler sharing a bathroom with us. Yeah. That was the worst idea, but I just wanted that love and that feeling back that I had when we were all together. Yeah. So I didn't speak to him for a while. We're thick as thieves now, but it was just a profound loneliness, not only at missing out on my mom, but how much just of life I at 35 had not experienced because I was so busy working. Yeah. Hui.
Also, it is important to say, because I know I was watching one of the women who did a review of your book, and she was making me laugh when she was like, Angela, don't make me laugh about your mom dying. Yes. And I loved it. She was so funny. But there's also a lot of like very weird, unexpected humor that comes with death and passing. Like, my stepdad was the funniest he'd ever been in those days. Like, he was cracking such good jokes. But also my sister and I are like, like, is he gonna die today? Like, or like how long does dying take? Because it starts to get absurd after a time.
It really does.
So it's important just to say that for everybody. If this comes for you, when it comes for you, like, you're not a bad person if you also find humor in this time.
I wrote it for people to find humor.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things Scrubs did for me. I'm like, we were telling stories about sick people and new doctors. And when something is new to you, it's never not going to be funny. Because trying to and death, something so important that we all are going to face, but having no idea what any of it looks like. I mean, I was a wreck in terms of what I thought was helpful and what wasn't. And having hospice nurses be like, no, honey, you really don't need to care how her hair looks today. That's like, And simple things like mothering your mother. I had no idea how hard that was going to be. Like,
oh man, yeah.
My mother did not. She got to the point where she had to wear diapers.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, you changed mine, let me change yours. But the pride element involved in, I don't want you to see my butt. And so finally, just for her to let me change her diaper, I had to walk around without pants on. I said, well, you're going to see mine then. And so
genius.
I wanted people to see not just these sad parts, but how you can bond with your mom by showing her your ass. You know, the different things we have to do to get them to let us care for them.
Very creative of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's true, because it is this very, like, oh God, like, now they're frail. This person who's always been sort of in a position of power needs me in a way that I don't know how to be needed.
Yes. And for my mom and women of her generation accepting help, my God, it's like you're asking for $1 million from somebody. It's like, how do you get someone to accept help who's so used to being a strong single mom? Oh my God, that was harder than like the actual making sure she took her pills and learning all the medical stuff. It was like
the mental game.
Whew, my God.
Now, you mentioned earlier your IUD. Throughout all of this time, you've gotten divorced at like 31, 32-ish, right? When do you start to think, you know, the house is empty, mom's gone? When do we start to think like, I can fill the house in my own way?
As soon as my mom passed, that was it for me having kids, because I thought, she's gone. And I wanted my kids to have the family that I never had, the extended family.
Right.
And it's literally just me in California. And I remember making a choice like, it's just never going to happen for me, and that's okay. And making all these excuses of why my life was better, but seeing and having this big house that I'm living in by myself, but just being like, I can use this as my closet. But just for some reason, I just thought my mom is gone. And she was a nurse. She was a neonatal nurse.
Oh.
I know. And I had a nephew at this point. I just thought, I'm one of those women who's just supposed to be an auntie.
Fun auntie.
Because also I'm broke and I have to work harder than I had before to not be broke, because I'm trying to prove to Hollywood, I still got it. I'm still funny. I can still write. Because once you haven't worked out here in a couple of years, it's like, oh.
She's stale.
Yes. So I was busting my ass trying to get my career off the ground. I thought, if I couldn't have kids then when I was on a hit show, I damn sure can't have kids now when I'm a freelance writer getting on shows that are canceled every 2 months or 3 months.
Did that mean, though, that you had also, like, had you written off love for yourself?
If I'm honest, in a way, yes. Because I hadn't figured out what the definition of real love was yet. I never thought about the type of man I like. I remember embarrassingly saying, like, I don't have a type. Yeah, we all do. If it's not physical, it's emotional. But just wanting to feel loved and on paper still wanting all these things. Like, he has to be able to contribute half. He has to have his own car. He has to have come from good family. And I thought, I'm never going to find that. I'm never going to find that. And so I just thought, I'll take someone who can just pay half the rent. And I'll act like it's love.
Sure.
It's so embarrassing, but Romance. It's so true.
But then I hear there is a funny story with how you met your forever person.
My God.
And rumor has it there's a funny story.
Oh, it's a hilarious story. Back when Twitter was still called Twitter, I fostered dogs. That's where I got my love from, damn it. Fostering dogs. And so I would post them on Twitter. And this man named Sean Waltman, whose bio said, host of something podcast. And I was like, I never heard of this podcast, but he has tons of followers. He used to retweet my dogs and they would get adopted like this.
Wow.
And then one day we would DM a little bit, literally about dog stuff. I was like, oh my God, I just had this dog that ran away. I had to run around the block and he was gone, but then he came back home and he would just be like, yay. And then he said, can I bring you lunch one day at work?
Okay, Sean.
Right? And I said, okay, sure. And I worked on a show called The Last OG, and my husband is white. And I thought, I can see how cool this guy is because he's going to walk into a room where there was only one white writer. It was the exact opposite of what...
Love to see it.
Right? But it was also the first nationally recognized Juneteenth, so my boss gave us the day off.
Sure.
So I'm sitting in the office waiting for him to arrive. Not only does he arrive, he decides to tell me everything about his past and that he's a pro wrestler. And
Guys, he's not just a pro wrestler. He's a WWE Hall of Famer. Angela's like low-key texting with dogs about like a wrestling legend.
But like his bio said Chester, Pennsylvania, and I'm from Philly. Chester is scarier than Philly.
Oh.
So I was like, who's this dude? And so he ends up telling me, yeah, I lived in Chester because I was a drug addict. And tells me this all as we're first meeting. I was a drug addict, and I did blackface on national TV when I was 19. I didn't know it was bad. Like, just all these things.
He's like, here are all my cards on the table.
Boom! Like, and I thought, he said, I want to tell you all this in case you, don't want to be seen with me or seen eating with me. He said, and I understand if you say no. And I said, I called my friend who lived across the street from Paramount. I said, can you please come over here? There's a white guy in my office on Juneteenth telling me he did blackface. I said, what is this? What is this? I am like, am I on a sketch reality show? Like,
am I being punked right now?
Right, exactly. And so she came over and she said, what are you doing telling my girlfriend that you did blackface on Juneteenth? Do you know what Juneteenth is? No. Because he didn't. It was the first one. He only went, I think he finished 9th grade, and then he had a very traumatic upbringing, as did I, and he dropped out and ran away to become a wrestler. But then there's something about someone being that honest with you.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a good guy. I'm going to give him a
Also,
chance.
that's like a sign of a proper recovered addict, because a big part of recovering from addiction, right, is owning your story.
I know. And if you had told me that I would fall in love with a guy who told me he did blackface on Juneteenth, who had 2 grown kids, when I told people who he was on paper, he sounded horrible.
Sure.
Horrible. Like, he lost his career, he lost a lot of his money. Now when I met him, he's a Hall of Fame wrestler, and he's working for WWE now again. But when I met him, he was wrestling people with pick lines. Like, he was so broke.
Sure.
Like, just doing whatever he could to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is never going to work. 7 years later, I'm happier than I've ever been.
Well, also, there's some interesting parallels, right? And converse stories. You had the marriage where everything on paper looked good. That wasn't right.
Yeah.
So, like, that is a whole fallacy there. And also, you ended up with the white guy from the rough neighborhood who, like, has his own demons and has reconciled them. So he's kind of like, if I may, your dad's probably not going to listen to this, if I may, maybe the version of dad who did the work.
That's what my therapist said.
Question mark.
That is exactly what my therapist said.
So there's got to be something a little bit healing about that, too.
Yeah, it's everything because I remember my mom saying, my mom and dad got divorced in the 80s. And Philadelphia in the 80s still had the KKK walking around. Like, I'm not even joking. You Google Elmwood Avenue, KKK, interracial family moves in. It was a whole thing.
Not pretty.
Yeah, and so the justice system obviously wasn't biased towards her. My mom worked. My dad didn't have a job. And so I remember going to court with her and having the judge say, what do you need child support for? Or things like, are you sure that he's the kid's father? Yeah, they were married. Why wouldn't he be? And my mom telling me, don't marry a white guy because the system is made for white men. She said, as a woman, you get the short end of the stick, but as a black woman, you're definitely getting the shorter. She never got child support. And they used to literally, the black security guards at the courthouse would call my mom Mrs. One More Chance because my dad was always given one more chance to come up with the money. One more chance. When all the black guys would go straight to jail. And so my mom raised me like, this world is not going to be kind to you if you ever need to leave him. So I always thought that relationships had an ending. So I thought, I can never marry a white guy. The justice system is going to kick my ass. Well, there's things called prenups. You can, you can take care of that.
You can figure it out.
But also, I love how weird we look on paper because he's a white guy from a Florida trailer park, not even joking, who dropped out of high school. I'm a black woman who went to Ivy League school from Philly. But at the end of the day, we're just two people who've had a lot of trauma and just want to be people of leisure as best we can.
We just want to be happy.
And give out kind compliments. We're the queen and king of like compliments and helping people. Like, that's just...
I have heard you guys are a very fun time on a double date. I have on good authority that you guys are a very good time.
We try to be. It's like we need more joy in our life. And so many people are walking around without joy in this lovely place called Los Angeles, entertainment capital. Some of the people are the saddest people I know. And it's like, whatever we can do to get more joy in our life, we do it. And I love that about us. I've never had a relationship like that.
What do you guys fight about? I ask everybody that.
What do we fight about? We tend not to fight. It's mostly money things, but it's mostly me reminding him that he's no longer broke. He
He lives in like a scarcity mindset.
Yes!
Yeah.
And he'll be like, oh, we're doing too much Uber Eats. You were in the highest tax bracket last year. We're okay ordering out Uber Eats once. And it's growing up like that. I think we both have that, but it's also not to think everything's going to go to shit.
Yeah.
He tends to think that things are going too good. I'm like, honey, we're okay.
Yeah.
And we fight. He always says, I need to make you into more of a white male. He said, because we have confidence. He's like, I'm a meth addict, and I'm not afraid to ask for certain things. He was like, women, you guys are like, please and maybe, is it okay if I... He's like, give it to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, we had a lot of fights in the beginning about how hard I worked and how much I gave and how I brought that negativity home. I remember him sitting in our backyard one day and I got off of a work call. Women in comedy type thing situation where you're not being listened to. And I was, yeah! And he goes, oh my God. And I just thought, I don't want my husband to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I gotta find a way to not.
I can relate.
So we started going to couples counseling and it was...
Key. Everybody should do it.
Yes. And it was like, okay, this is a good way to talk to each other.
Yeah, it's really hard to talk to each other well. Now talk to me about how old were the kids when you became a stepmom?
Oh God, I'm such a happy stepmom. I think the kids were 26 and maybe 28. I'm probably getting, because once you're like, until you're like 40, I don't count your age. It's all like, you're a kid. You're
in their mid to late 20s.
Yes.
Now, I feel like that's a really unique time to come into somebody's life, because then you have this opportunity to be a bonus.
Yes.
Because they're already grown. Like, they're raised, and there's no pressure that you're going to replace anybody who meant something to them. I feel like that's a really special and kind of different situation. Was there any conversation about, like, I'm marrying your dad, or that Sean led, of like, this is my new person in my life, this is what it means for you as adults, or did it all just sort of work itself out?
It all kind of came together because I figured that's his relationship with his kids. I always looked at them as they're grown. When my mom married the crazy guy, I wanted to respect her decision even though I hated him, so I thought, I want them to come like me on my own, on their own terms.
Yeah.
And never forced anything. Their mother passed, and I realized I'm the only person in their life. And one day, his daughter just says to me, like, God, I couldn't have asked for a better mom. And I thought, oh my God.
That's going to lay me flat out.
Right?
I don't know.
Right? And we have real conversations like I wish I had with my mom.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I have conversations with her to get her to better understand her dad, but I also have the ability to say, that sounds like an issue you need to talk to your dad about when I'm sitting by a Minnesota lake. But being the person who can't fully ruin them, but also can get them to know their dad better, who has a lot of guilt about being an addict when he was raising them.
Yeah.
I had to say to him, why don't we live in Minnesota near your kids? There's a lot of making up to do. Don't let it be, because my husband always thinks he's going to die because wrestlers die. Don't make it that we move you out there when you're in hospice and you let's go do it now. And you have a grandson. And I'm the only grandmother on the kid's paternal side that he knows. So I've been grandmom since the day he was born. And to have somebody send me Mother's Day cards and tell me I'm an influence on their life, I'm like, and get the good part without changing any diapers ever.
Yeah, that's a real cha-ching.
And so I absolutely love it. Having real conversations about coming up as a woman, just pulling out the fake coin behind my grandson's ears and seeing him like, you're
Magic is for devils.
I forgot that. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna have to stop that. And no dancing. Matter of fact, whenever he smiles, just get that out of here.
That can't be good. No, that's so special. I mean, it's really crazy how, whether or not you've done it on purpose, if you look at your life trajectory, you've gotten to this place where you're giving yourself the medicine that you needed. And some of it found you by way of Twitter and a meth addict and dogs being fostered. And a lot of it sounds like you chose. Like, with these kids, there's an absolute parallel world where you're like, those are your grown kids, you have your relationship with them. But you're chomping at the bit where they will have you and where they want you to right some wrongs for yourself.
Yes, yes, I am so excited. People are like, how can you be excited to move from California to Minnesota? I'm like, first, have you seen how cheap things are out there?
Fact.
Right? Two, I'm just surrounded by love whenever we're out there. It's just, and a family that's already intact, but my ability to be the person on the outside in some ways makes it better because I can see everybody's side. There's no emotional ties. It's just like, we're all here because we love each other. And for us to go back there because we love the hell out of you guys, to me, that's such a gift a parent can give. Like, you're more important than anything I'm chasing out here in Hollywood. And I always wish my mom had been able to give that to me. You're just important as my job. And I never felt that.
Yeah.
So to be able, the joy in, I guess, our daughter, she calls me mom, voice, when she found out we were really moving, I think she thought we were joking. When I just texted her 2 weeks ago, like, we got our rental place, give me the address, just where you know. She said, I never thought that my dad would come back to live near me.
Wow.
It's just the greatest gift. And I'm like, this is life, people.
Guys, we're going to do a follow-up with Angela in like January and see how she's doing. I mean, I'm happy for you.
No.
It's going to be fucking cold.
Yo. And I went out there in January just to make sure I could hack it. And my husband and I are very alike. It's like, get out of the house once a day. We go to a little ice house sculpture. And then we're like, all right, that's 5 minutes good. We can go back in the house.
They're both house cats. For dog people, they're house cats. Yes. Well, this has been such a joy. We've covered so much ground, and we have a lot to put in the show notes because we have our latest book, Good Grief, Pass the Bread, Mom is Dead. We have
Mixed My Life in Black and White. That thing had 10 titles before they could approve one for publication. Mixed My Life in Black and White.
Broke Diaries. There's several books. There is also, if Scrubs isn't your comfort show, it is a huge comfort show in this house. I know it's very Gen Z now to like find a show and just watch it on loop. So guys, this is the one for you if you haven't been acquainted. And there's so many other things. I mean, I feel like every mom, like my mom's age, is all obsessed with Ginny and Georgia, which you were a huge part of as well. Yes. There's so many things that Angela has had a stamp on culturally that you don't even realize. So go check her out. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
your vibes.
Yo, thank you for having me on. Like, honestly, this means so much. Thank you, girl. Thank you.
Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Mutha, MUTHA.life for a daily look at all things Mutha. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast was produced by Mutha Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.